Ladies and gents, would you please put your hands together and welcome to the stage the creators of Petrified, Liam and Peter. Thank you.
Hello! Hello, everyone. Congratulations, you all survived. We've moved the three out of the building. Yeah, thanks so much. We just thought we might have like a little chat about Petrified. How many people have actually listened to Petrified or heard Petrified before? Okay, awesome. We don't have too much explaining to do. But yeah, we've been doing it for a couple of years now. We've done, I think, 22 episodes, and this is our first live show in Ireland, but our second live show overall. Our first one was in London. But yeah, I thought, like, before we get into Petrified, I just wanted to kind of get into Peter's mind a little bit. Because Peter writes and directs all the episodes. But before we get into that, I wanted to go back further, which is when you were actually growing up. Because we were talking recently about Halloween traditions, and I was saying, oh yeah, we used to like dress up in black sacks and go bobbing for apples. But then you told me what you did. I was like, oh, that's weird. What was your tradition?
Well, so when we were growing up, like, we used to do the kind of Halloween games, and then I was going, this isn't enough, this is a bit boring. So I tried to introduce a few other games. So one in particular, and that's my family there, just there, yeah, that's right. So there was one Halloween in particular where I told all the kids and the cousins and all that there had been a suitcase. So my nana had dug up her back garden and she found a suitcase in the back garden, and when she opened it, it was full of pictures and clothes and things belonging to these two orphans who'd been murdered. And the people who had murdered the orphans had tried to get rid of all the evidence and buried it in me nana's back garden. And then, because me nana had opened the suitcase, she'd released the spirits. And so if the kids in the house didn't get rid of the spirits before the end of the night, they were all going to die. So that was fun for a lot of, what was it, like 7 and 8 year olds or whatever.
But weren't
and a few brothers and sisters like had brought friends. Let's just say the friends didn't come back to Halloween after.
But what was in the bed? Didn't you like tell everyone to go upstairs?
So my nana was like sitting up in the bed with like a curtain over her head, and then my mom was hiding under a bed, and so then the kids were chased up the stairs, and so I was holding the door closed while my auntie was banging at the door, and I was saying, they're coming, and I said, the only safe place is under the bed. But my mom was under the bed. So the kids crawled under the bed, and of course my ma was under there to grab them. So yeah, more crying, more screaming.
And then, I mean, that's a great start to a horror career. But then you used to watch, like, I'm not sure how old you were, but you used to watch horror movies with your granddad.
Yeah.
Wasn't there?
Yeah.
Why?
I was going to say I used to be a bit of a weirdo, but I think I still am. So I would have been like a real reader. I wouldn't have kind of gone out much, stuff like that. And so what we would do is me and my granddad would watch all the old Hammer horror films. So, Peter Cushing pulling down the curtains to kill Christopher Lee as Dracula and stuff like that. And so we'd kind of pull the curtains. We'd be sitting he'd be in his chair and I'd be on the sofa and we'd be watching it. And it kind of just felt safe, And you'd feel loved. And so when my granddad died, I would watch them films to remember him, because it would make me remember being loved and feeling safe. And so in a weird way, watching horror films became a comfort, became like a safe space. So whenever I was feeling bad or feeling down, I'd put on a film, think of him, and I just feel better. So now the weird thing is, horror films actually make me feel better.
Do you ever get scared then when you're watching them?
Yeah.
So then you were doing horror theatre and a horror film club, which is how we met. But the horror film club was very strange. I mean, I was a reporter on the radio when I first met Peter, and I was sent out to interview Peter about his horror film club, and it was an underground film club. And I remember getting an email and saying, "Oh, we're going to meet at this pub on Capel Street," and just from a random email address, and then met you there and a bunch of people, and then you were like, right, follow me. Where did you take us?
Oh, well, one time we went to an abandoned nunnery, and then we were in the church, but the altar had been taken out. I was going to say, thank God. The altar had been taken out, thank God. The altar had been taken out, so I think that means it's unconsecrated. Well, because thank God, because we showed like this film called The Devils, about like these nuns that got possessed. And then we did one in, like, there was one, like, kind of art spaces, like there was one that was like in this place that everything was painted white. Like, it was just kind of really unusual locations, because I wanted people to feel uncomfortable when they were watching it. So whatever would make them feel worse, that would be the one I'd pick.
And that's like I said, that's how we met in the first place.
Yeah, but then you didn't realize that the first time we actually worked together was a trick I played on Liam. So I had this idea in my head that I wanted to do. So I had this idea where I was going, you know the way like when you go to a different country and you do like an audio tour and you're listening to everything about the location. I was going, what if I could make up something that was a load of lies, and people would listen to it when they're walking around, and then they would believe it, and then they'd go home to their own countries and they would have all these stories about Dublin that wasn't true. And then like these kind of urban legends could start. So I was going, so I'd never done any kind of audio stuff before. So I said, remember your man that interviewed me from RTE? And I was going, maybe I can get him. So I contacted Liam, because Liam used to, when you were doing podcasts, so I had no experience in any of this stuff at all. So I contacted Liam and I pretended I wanted to ask him about podcasts, and because I didn't know anything about them. So we're having a coffee, and then I said to him, I have like this kind of weird idea to do like this audio tour, but I don't know anyone who I could do it with. And Liam said, oh, I could do that. And then we did Erie, which was, but then kind of backtracking. So then, like when we originally did the launch for Petrified and the Sugar Club, I told this story on stage, and I realised I'd never told Liam that I tricked him.
I just found this out in London last year on stage in front of a bunch of people. I was like, what? You did. So obviously everything that's happened tonight is in some degree to do with fear. So I want to talk a little bit about fears, because Peter has a very unusual fear. And I bet, aside from the people who know what it is, I would bet money on that no one would guess it. And this is a genuine fear. What is your phobia?
Eggs.
Eggs. Yeah. This is like to the extent that I remember turning up to like a rehearsal one day with a Kinder Egg before I knew this, and was like, "Here, I brought you this," and he was like, "Ah," that's how I found out. Yeah. How do you get a fear of eggs?
I don't know.
Where did that come from?
I don't know. Like there's a kind of like the reason why I think it might be is Toonie. So when I was small, my mum got me this book of Gulliver's Travels. And so there's this part in the book where like the two islands are fighting because one of them eats their eggs from the top and the other one eats their eggs from the bottom, and there was like a split screen picture, and one of them there's a picture of somebody hitting an egg with a spoon, and then in the other picture there's a picture of a bald fella getting hit in the head with an axe. But in the other one there was blood coming out of the egg and there was egg yolk coming out of the man's head. But then, like, not only was that, but for ages I couldn't look at bald men without imagining egg yolk coming out of the hat. Yeah. So maybe that's where it comes from.
So then you took that, well, not that specifically, but you started doing research into fears, proper research funded by the Arts Council of Ireland. And I know you interviewed lots of people, and there was lots to that. But one of the big things that you did as part of that was aptly titled something called Cracked.
Yeah.
What was that all about?
But just say as well, because it was such a long time ago, one of the kids I interviewed for the horror research is right there. So it was this thing called Cracked in Sheffield, and so I just Googled like extreme experiences, because I was going, if I'm going to be making horror stuff, I have to be willing to go through what I want to put my audience through. So I said, okay, what can I find out that's extreme? And so I looked up this thing called Cracked, and so it didn't tell you too much in advance, but you had to give them access to your social media for 2 weeks before it happened, because they would find out. So me, like a dope, was telling me friends, oh yeah, I have to let them see me social media for 2 weeks. So what does my friends do? Plasters me Facebook with eggs falling out of fridges, eggs in pans, you name it, just eggs galore. So then turned up to Sheffield, and so I had to get I didn't really know what was to expect, so I flew to Sheffield, and like you go into this taxi, and so I had a pin drop, so I showed him, man, this is where I have to go, and he goes, are you sure? And I went, it's for a thing. And so he brought me up to this place. And so I was the first one there. It's a country lane, middle of nowhere, and I'm sitting on the wall, and then other people starts coming along, and so in the end there was 9 of us, one didn't turn up. They were right. So I was sitting there, and then this girl comes walking down the lane, and she's like all dressed in white. She has like a white kind of parasol thing over her head, and she's talking to us, and she's being like kind of real friendly and stuff like that. And so then one of the people on the wall goes to look behind him, and then she screams. She goes, "Don't look behind you!" And so we're all looking at her, going, "What's going on?" Because what we don't know is there's this big. You know them army trucks with like the canvas over the back of them pulls up behind us, which we don't see. Next while all these people go out in like hazmat suits and gas masks, and they pull us off the wall. And so they throw us into thing like I had me hands cable tied together. They put a bag over our heads and stuff like that. And so I'm going, this is for research for a play. I'm thinking
funded by the Arts Council.
Funded by the Arts Council. And I'm there, like, and then I kind of made the mistake of trying to fix the bag, so they threw me on the ground, somebody put their foot in my head. And so I'm lying on the back of the truck with somebody's foot in my head, and I'm going, I can't use any of this in a play. So then they bring us to the location. So the whole thing is, they're trying to make you crack. And so it can finish as soon as you want to. All you have to do is say, I crack. So then they bring us into this place. They give us each numbers because they don't want you to have like a human connection with anyone, so they won't use your name. So I was number 1. And then and they take like your phone off you, but like it ended up going on for like 6.5 hours, but like you had no concept of time. So there was things like it was kind of nearly like a mixture of like nearly Navy SEAL training and I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out Here. Like I was waterboarded, so there was a sack up my head, and they dump buckets of water, and then when you try to take a breath, they dump another bucket of water over your face. There was kind of like all these like kind of blaring stuff in your ears. They were like kind of physically trying to exhaust you. Like and while they're pumping water into your face, you have to hold like this, you know, the the gas things that you put in the Calor coals and gas thing like them ones. So you're holding that above your head while they're dumping the water in your face. And so this stuff was going on. So they'd bring you off into these separate places, and then they'd bring you together for like these group experiences. And whenever they were bringing us back into group thing, I was going, there's people missing, so they must be cracking along the way. But then what happened was, so it was still going on, so like you're soaking wet, you're freezing, like this stuff was going on. Like at one stage, they nailed me into a coffin. And so, but not only were you nailed into a coffin, there was these 2 pieces of wood sticking up, and one of them was hitting you here, and one of them was in here, so you couldn't get a proper breath, because the lid is pressing down you, and you kind of go, and I even like start panicking and stuff like this, so you couldn't even get a proper breath. It was like a, and so then, but the worst part was, so they bring us into the thing, and like this stage, I think there's only about like 6 people left, and all the people that's doing to you is in hazmat suits, you can't see their face, so you can't make a connection. and we're sitting there soaking, and then they put a basin in front of you. So I'm going, obviously that's for vomit. So
It gets a bit gross from here.
yeah, well, yeah. So they bring out these plates for everyone, and on the plates was like there was like crickets and these kind of slug things, and then there was this fish that's actually it's a Swedish fish, but it's illegal to open in an enclosed space because it smells so bad. And like anytime they put your fish, you're going like that. There was crickets, I think I said that, and all these other stuff on everyone's plates. And in the middle of my plate was a big, huge egg. So I'm going, okay, well, obviously when it gets to the egg, I'm going to stop because I can't do it. So I start fucking horsing the stuff into me. So everyone else is like this, and I'm just going. And then I get to the egg, and I'm going, okay, well, I'll just have a look. And so my hands are going like this, and it was a big thing. And so I'm peeling the egg, but like it wasn't even a normal egg. I think it might be called I think it's called a millennium egg because the jelly stuff is black and the yolk is brown. And so I'm peeling that, and like, but then I kind of went into like kind of a weird shock for the rest because my hands, I couldn't stop shaking, and so I just peeled it, and I was just going, I can't. And then they all kind of seemed to come around me, and the hazmat suits, like they were gathering around me as if it was like the place to be, and everyone else was nearly like kind of forgotten, and they're all kind of standing and they're going, do you crack number one? Do you crack number one? And I was kind of going like, so the only way I could get it down was, this is disgusting, so I had to vomit into my mouth and then break off a piece of the egg and put it in the stick and then swallow it. And then, so I got it down, and then they were, yeah. In the long run, it's not that big deal. Like, yeah, an egg, like you do it every day. But anyway, I got the egg down, and then like I was kind of but then I was like proper full on the shakes. And then they were going like, oh, you proud of yourself, number one? And I made a huge mistake and going, I'm amazed I got down the first place. And they went, oh yeah, get this fella more eggs. So anyway, I ate the eggs and it continued, and then like, but it just kept going and going. And so, but the thing was like, the really interesting thing was like, so three of us made it to the end. And then the thing was like, I was talking to people afterwards, and there was this kind of older man who made it to the end. He was 60, and I was going to him, why did you do, like me saying, why did you do this? Like I'm sitting beside him, why did you do this? And he was going, because he said he was able to find out what he was capable of. He was going, he wasn't going to die, so he was going, I was able to find out how much I could take and still be in control. Because like even though there was all these horrible things happening to you, you were still in control. And so there was the kind of thing I took away from it was like, you know, even though we're kind of sitting up here in front of everyone, I've had a few drinks. If I was sober, I wouldn't have the nerve to do this. But like, I would be very shy usually. But then after doing that, I was going, you can go over and talk. You were nailed into a coffin. You can go over and talk to that person, you know. So that was kind of it was weirdly a great experience. Yeah.
And it was all of that to say that's like an excellent foundation for the stuff that comes out of your head for episodes of the show. Where do well, because we haven't really properly introduced ourselves. Peter writes and directs the show, and I produce and do the sound design. But when we're recording the show, one thing that all the cast will know is that we get the scripts like pretty much on the morning of the recording, and the actors haven't read them beforehand, and I haven't seen them. But how do you manage to? I mean, I know you stay up all night writing this, but how do you do that? And
deadlines and panic. No, I don't know. Like Anton can inspire you to do it. Like just say for instance, like tonight's when I was going, okay, well we're in the Laughter Lounge, it has to be about a joke. You know, so you kind of make some kind of connection like that. But anything can inspire you at all. Like there's no, yeah.
Do you have? We've done about, I think it's 22 episodes. Do you have like a favorite one that we've done?
No, I think it's not a favorite one because of the episode, because of how it came about. Like there was one we did called Grove Network Solutions, and we were supposed to be recording in my house because we like, even though Petrified sounds great, but that's all thanks to Liam. Liam is a genius. Like he's brilliant. He's a genius, and he does like. You know, I was kind of saying it, and even like the cast were saying, like, you could never find a better creative partner than Liam. I don't think I'll ever find another one. But like Liam makes all the sounds himself. Like, you know, there was one episode where there's two sisters fighting. So Liam put cushions down on the floor and rolled around his own floor, thumping himself. And that was how he did the two sisters fighting. So it's all thanks to Liam. But so everyone was coming over to my house for 11 on Sunday morning to record it, and it was 10 o'clock, and I had nothing. I had no episode whatsoever. I just knew it was going to be in a call centre, and so 10 o'clock I just went, right, you have to write it. And so just literally stayed up all night and wrote the episode, and in a weird way it was good because you don't second guess yourself and go, oh God, is this good? I'll scrap it. You don't have time, you just have to write it, and then it kind of just flowed out, and then you're kind of going, what am I saying? And then when I was listening back, I was going, did I write that? You know, so just that, because it was so, the way it happened was so easy. I'd say that was my favourite experience, yeah.
I meant to say this at the start, but we're going to have a roving mic if anyone has a question that they'd like to ask us. And I'm about to run out of questions, so start thinking really quickly. But I was going to say, like, what's the difference between, like, this is our second live show. What's the difference between writing something that is just for audio versus like something like this, which we still want to put out to audio because most of our listeners are actually in the UK and America, and Ireland actually only comes third, weirdly. But yeah, so is it difficult to do what we just did?
Well, with the London one and with this one, you're kind of going, well, you have to make it so you don't want people just to be thinking that they're just turning up to listen to a podcast. Like, there has to be some connection. You have to get rid of the wall. So like the whole thing was like to, you know, the whole, like, obviously it was all fake, it's not real, you're not really cursed, sorry, you're not really cursed.
Or are you?
But like to have the thing at the start where people are sitting here with scripts, and then have the thing where the script is ripped up and you're going, you know, this is happening, you know, just to make it feel like you might as well be, like, why are you here rather than just listen to it at home? To make it feel special for the people that are here, and just like, you know, that's why we said it in the Laughter Lounge, that's why we wanted to have like interaction with the audience, like to kind of go, thanks very much for turning up, and we're making this for the audience that are here rather than just going, here's one we wrote 2 weeks ago, there, go, yeah.
And we have to mention absolutely amazing cast in general on Petrified, but especially tonight with Mags, Ali and Anna. But we just have like there's been so many people in Petrified, like I don't know how many actors, like a lot of actors have been in, but just, and some of them, yes, you can see some of them here. But what is it like, how do you figure out who's the right person for, you know, the particular character?
When we were like, it just, because when we made the first few years ago, we were using the same people again and again, and now when I write, I go, oh, this is a good one for, for that. But like, you know, Mags, who has the red hair, who was up here earlier, and Donncha, they've nearly been in every single episode. So I'm just like, yeah, that's Donncha, that's Mags. And then it's just, but then I would write stuff with people in mind, because you just can, and the lovely thing is, like, it's great crack. Like, it's, you know, even though we're making a hard thing, like, we're sitting around the table in my, like, dining room, and we're just, like, having the crack, and there's tea and there's biscuits now, and then just, like, and then you just go, and then you just go, like, the neighbours must think we're, like, you know, smacking chairs and screaming and banging the walls and all stuff like that. And then we'll sit down and, like, so what are you doing this evening? Yeah.
I especially think that in my house when I'm trying to do the sound effects and I'm just in my house going like, and stuff. What was I going to say? Yeah, does anyone have any questions that they'd like to ask? I know it's... oh yeah, there is a hand over here. I think we have a mic. Yeah, there's a mic coming to you. Thanks very much.
Hi, hello.
Hi.
So I loved how you adapted the podcast for a theatrical setting. I thought it was fantastic.
Thank you.
I was just wondering, did the form dictate the story, or did the story dictate the form? So you knew it was going to be staged live, but how much of that actually impacted when you were thinking of the story, or did you twist the story to fit a live setting?
Well, I twisted the story to fit the Laughter Lounge, and that was the kind of number one thing. And then it kind of was like a domino thing. You're going, well, if it's Laughter Lounge, it has to be about jokes. And then I was kind of going, well, if it's going to be about jokes, I'd like stand-up comedians. So Ali and Anna both do stand-up, and then Mags, I'd stick her in my drawer, like I'd put her in anything. So, and then it just kind of like. And then as it went on, so the idea was always, how do you make it so it doesn't feel like that people are just watching the podcast? So it's kind of, it was kind of a domino thing. There was nothing, this happened and this happened and this happened. So I wasn't sitting down going, okay, this is exactly how you do it. But and also like, the Liam would have had ideas, the actors had ideas. So it was totally collaborative. It wasn't like just going, this is it. I don't know if that answers it, sorry.
Actually, one thing that we should say is that you might have heard me and Peter on the sound clips, but one person you did hear is Donncha O'D, who's on stage. I don't know what time it is right now on the Abbey Theatre. I went to see the play. I forget the name of the play. What was the name of the play?
Somewhere Out There You.
Yeah, which is amazing. You should go and see it.
You were saying it was funny, like somebody is appearing on the Abbey stage and the Laughter Lounge at the exact same time.
At the exact same time, yeah. It's got to be first.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions that anyone has? It's there we go. The mic is on its way.
So what makes you jump? Because obviously you're like an adrenaline rush and stuff like that. But like now, what makes you jump or gives you a scare?
Weirdly loud sound makes me jump. So where most people watch horror films like covering their eyes, I watch them like this. And actually, like earlier on, you probably see me like when we were testing out and with some of the screams and stuff in the rehearsals. I know they're coming, but I just can't hear loud sounds, so I can't watch horror films with headphones. But in the cinema, I can watch it, but I just can't hear it.
Yeah.
What would it be?
Loads, eggs. No, loads. Yeah. Anne, it could be Anne. Yeah. Like the kind of good thing is, even though I watch loads of horror stuff like that, like I'm still I'll jump around and it's cool.
Are there any last questions? Oh, there's loads of questions. One. I think this is coming from the family table.
This is for Liam, so you can stop that. Liam, do you think you'll ever get used to the weirdness that is our lovely brother? Even after all these years, do you think you'll ever get used to his strange little mind?
We've done 22 episodes. I don't know. That amounts to like hours and hours of like stuff. Oh yeah, fair. Okay, you win. 47 years. Or trumps me. I like it just.
But it's not just like we did Spooky FM. That was two series of a kids thing. We did Eerie, which was the audio. We did Bram, another audio thing. Then I did a play in Dublin Castle that you did the sound for. So like. No.
Sorry,
no.
Get old now. I think there was one question. Yeah, over at the wall. Thank you.
Hello. Well done, guys. Just wanted to really ask what was the inspiration behind Anna's wonderful line, and if I can quote, Peter is a prick.
So me and Anna have a very particular relationship where we slag each other all the time. We just slag each other all the time. But I'm slightly better. So the whole thing was like, you know what, I want Anna to win. So I was going, I'll give Anna a line where she can really vent at me. So I was going, go for it, Anna. Tell them that I'm a prick. Go on, do it. Get your own back. So yeah, but the thing was like there was a lot of it that was based on me actually, like me and Anna really do slag each other all the time, and so I wanted to kind of make it as real as I could. So yeah, and then things like, you know, when Anna talks about her partner Tig, it's a real partner. Mags really does have a husband and a kid, you know. So I wanted to try and, for people who know the three of them, I wanted it to feel like as familiar or as, because they really are just, well, maybe Mags isn't that person, but that they are like kind of, that is as close to everything as possible. So yeah, I just wanted to let Anna get me. Yeah.
And Ali Fox is actually doing a stand-up comedy gig in Smock Alley on November 4th. So you should definitely all go see that. She's amazing. But I'll probably have time for one more question if there was one, but it's okay. I can see a few hands.
Which one?
Oh, I can see I think, do you have, oh yeah.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Liam's colleague from his day job. Hi, how's it going? It's Ruth.
Oh, hi.
Hi, Ruth. Obviously, spooky season's upon us, and you're inspired by horror. So, what horror movie or podcast or TV show would you both recommend for us this week?
One show that I really like is called Welcome to Night Vale. It's a podcast. I liked it so much that in the last series that we did of Petrified, we were both like, who would we really love to get on the show? And I was like, I'd love to get like Cecil Baldwin, the guy who hosts Welcome to Night Vale. And he did it. So he was in our last Silvery guest episode, or guest, yeah. Yeah, so that's for podcast. For film, I was going to say Kill List. Is that really, is that a horror film or more? Yeah, we say that. Yeah, Kill List I really love.
Or Trick or Treat, and it's an or instead of an O. Trick or Treat is like the best Halloween film. It's perfect. Yeah,
you hate Hocus Pocus, don't you?
Yeah, it's terrible. the problem I have with Hocus Pocus is it's a kids' film, but they keep talking about virgins. And so I remember bringing me two sisters to see Hocus Pocus, and there was lots of like, a virgin will light the black flame candle, and I think one of my sisters actually said, what's a virgin? And I was going, you shouldn't be asking these questions at a kids' film. So I have a problem with Hocus Pocus.
I think it's interesting that like with what the show is about, and we're down here in the basement and that, but really, for real, this used to be a cinema. Wasn't there a cinema here?
Know.
What?
I don't know.
Did you not tell me you came to see a movie here years ago? Wasn't there a cinema?
Oh, I did.
Lies.
It was did this used to be the screen cinema?
No.
Oh, then no, I'm wrong.
I was just lying to you. Prick. Anyway, no, sorry. I think there was one more question. Oh yeah, there is.
Oh, there's one here.
Oh, there's two more questions. If we have the time for them, someone tell us if we don't have the time.
Where?
Hello. So this is a bit of a selfish question, as someone who's listened to 22 episodes,
thanks very
loves
much. Thank
both
you.
your work. My internal voice may, particularly when it's being sarcastic now, sounds like Mags. So really, I really want to ask is that what I love about the story so far is that they have such, you obviously have classic horror themes, but you also have like really relevant Irish themes like the recession, the property crash. So I suppose my big question is, where do you see your future inspiration, and can we look forward to many more episodes?
Well, I'd love to keep making it. I'll keep churning them out as long as people are listening. Nothing has given me more happiness than making Petrified in my career, so I'll keep going. But as far as ideas come around, like the thing about Petrified was how do we set ourselves apart, and so it was Irishness. So things like exactly what you said, like the Ghost Estates, like 12 Pubs of Christmas, the Panto. So the great thing is like there's a whole history of Ireland to mine. So that there's so much that will keep inspiring you, because like there's so much in our culture, and Irish people like are really famous, well not really, really well known for like ghost stories and like, you know, tales told by the fireside. And I think I said before, like everyone's auntie or cousin or friend or something has like a ghost story or something weird that happened. So this stuff just keeps like presenting itself again and again. So there's fountains of stuff left to write about.
And we don't know exactly what the future holds, but we did have this weird, it wasn't a weird thing, but it feels weird saying it. But like when we did our series 1, we had a producer from Netflix contact us, and we kind of didn't really know what to do. And so that didn't work out. But we are in talks with a production company about making a movie. And so that will be a couple of years probably down the line. You know, fingers crossed if that. But thank you. Gotta do it now. I think there was a chap here who had a question, so Chloe is on the way. Thanks, Chloe. Just here in the front, very front row.
Yeah.
Thanks. I was wondering what the most difficult episode was to make, and what your most favorite one was, like, to have fun with. Yeah.
The most difficult one was hold on now.
If you take a second to think about it. I know my most difficult one was our previous live show in London, because I don't know. I feel like this will spoil it though if people haven't. Have most people heard it? It's okay. So, but anyway, the live show that we did in London relied on me recording the audience like laughing and kind of reacting to the actors, and then I was to run backstage and edit it into like a pre-recorded thing so that we could play it at the end. So all that audience, like you folks, would be cursed too. And when I got back, my laptop wasn't working, and like there was no alternative ending like that.
Yeah, because if it didn't work, there was literally no ending to the show.
So it was just like me backstage for like 50 minutes, like
And I was doing the sound cues, and I don't have a notion what I'm doing. So, and I was sitting there like in front of the board, just kind of pressing, going, "Please God work, please God work." So that. And then but then after, like, all of them have been great fun. Like, as you're working with lovely, like, he's a dream. You're working with great actors, like everything, and like we're recording and we're laughing while we're doing it. So there's nothing that's been like torture. Like, so the only kind of difficult one probably was the live one, because we didn't. It was the first time that the power was kind of. It was like up to God. Like, it could go wrong, it could work, and if it did go wrong, we were fecked.
That was Melody Story Hour, if you haven't heard it. That's it. So we just want to thank you very much for coming along. Thank you so much.